Hello, guys, and welcome back to the SA DPC. I promised you another great day of games, and here we are. Thunder Predator is playing, and yesterday we got to see Beast Coast. Today we get to see this second team, and on this wonderful panel today, he's such a big talent, such a strong, amazing talent that he can fulfill the whole panel role himself. He is my panel today. Hi, Lyrical. How's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited. I wanted to show off my paneling chops this whole year, and now I just killed Trent, and I'm ready to go. It's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. I actually didn't do that. Please don't get angry at me, people out there. He'll be back shortly. I'm sure everything's. But yeah, I'm excited for the game today. Thunder Predator versus Apu King of Kings to start it all off.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is there's a couple matches in the DPC for each region that I feel like are the ones that kind of cement who's going to the major, who's not going to the major. And to me, at least, this feels like one of those big ones.
Yeah, and it's crazy that's what we're saying because
Right.
a year ago you wouldn't have considered the Apple King of Kings, previously known as Vinomistas, as even a contender, right? In fact, most people didn't really believe in them. They were look good in Div 2, but no way they could like pull it off and beat the Div 1 teams, and they've got an impressive scoreline until now. In fact, I have a lovely story for this, Lyrical, since now I'm also a
Oh, I'm
panelist, not
ready.
just a host. Yeah. King of Kings, Imperials non Vietnamese, I had a lot of belief in them when I started play, mainly because I got to interview them very early in the season. I got to meet Benny. I was like, okay, this guy has got the right mentality. So I followed his career a little bit. And I told the Peace Coast guys when I was with them in a Ukraine, and Hector laughed at me. He said, no way, these guys will never make it.
Oh,
They're never gonna beat any of the top teams. And so for this season, every time I have Victor on WhatsApp and on Discord, and every time they win a game, I send him the score line on Discord. And he's blocked me on Discord ever since. I can only
oh my
talk to him on
God.
WhatsApp now. He was not very happy about that. He never answered a single message out of all the score lines I sent him. I was very proud of my discovery though, so I'm really rooting for
That's
them.
good.
I'm a
I
fan.
love that. Listen, let me just tell you, that takes that's a next level of pettiness, right? You're petty in your sort of self-congratulatoriness to the point that you're ruining professional relationships. That takes some cojones. Very well done.
Thank you,
Appreciate that.
thank you. Yeah. So I think they have a lot of potential. I'd like to see them Vietnamese. I think the issue of consistency that we talk about a lot of the SA teams is probably the most prevalent in this team. But their
Right.
high highs are so incredible for a team that you wouldn't expect much of that they managed to pull it off more so than, for example, Beast Coast, who sometimes their low lows stand out more than their high highs.
I can't go on another little rant about it after yesterday. I felt like I felt really bad afterwards. Like I was super hard on them because again it was like one of those situations where it's you come to expect so much from a group of players and then still obviously winning, but maybe not in the fashion that we would have wanted, and kind of have
Mm-hmm.
to kick myself. But I would agree that this to me at least it feels like it's the story of teams that are coming up and like the DPC doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is nurturing
Mm-hmm.
talent.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that actually happen is really impressive and a little low key inspiring. Very happy that that's going on.
Yep, I agree with that. I also like to see, like, I think SA is probably the biggest region for this, probably because the pool of talent is still so wide, a lot of untapped talent. But I really like seeing that a team is the one that's being pulled together, right? In the
Yeah,
past in Dota, we usually get like, oh, look at this one carry coming from a tier 2 team. Look at this one mid get laner. He gets poached, teams fall apart. And then we never hear about that team again. But in
right.
SA, we got like Hokori last season. This season, we got Apple King of Kings, just full teams coming forward and giving their all. And that's what, to me, the TPC should represent, right? Not just a single player getting poached, but the opportunity to much more.
Right. Well, and it speaks to the sort of differences. This was something that I was thinking about when you had your interview the other day,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, which was like that it feels like players are maybe a little bit more nowadays willing to divulge their feelings on heroes or on
Mm-hmm.
stuff, whereas before that was very guarded. And I think that a large part of that is because like the individual skill cap and understanding of like which heroes are strong, that information gets disseminated a lot more quickly nowadays. But then you have the situation where what is like more important is creating this like cohesive structure of personal growth within a
Mm-hmm.
team and like these players that are believing in each other and that type of stuff that like there may be secrets to how to cultivate that, but it's much more like it's much less about the game and much more about like building a like that organization and the support system around it. And that's probably why we're seeing more of these players become like and not just be players that are being brought up, but being the whole organizations that are brought up, because it's not something that you can like just pull somebody in and then try and win the whole region with. Those teams, those models are kind of failing. It's the ones
Mhm.
that stick together that are winning.
I like your point as well, because I think for regions, again, SDA and SA stand out for me in this regard. That many years ago, the players that were being talked about usually were these like star mid laner, star carries that were coming up, and this mechanically skilled.
Right.
Oh my god, this region has so much raw talent. That was the phrase, the raw
Dude,
talent
raw
of the region.
talent. Raw
Yeah.
talent. I don't want to eat raw anything, okay? Definitely not talent.
And for SA, that's like changed completely. I mean, we're not talking about Parker, for example, one of the carries that kind of made the name for themselves, or even Lumiere from Infamous. Like, they're not the people that we're talking about, at least in the whole DPC. We're talking about like Stinger and his captainship skills. We're talking about Matthew now on Thunder Predator and this atmosphere he creates in a team. Same with Axel on Infamous. Like, it's these veterans that are coming up, taking these captainship roles, making these great environments you're talking about to play in, and they're the stars now, right? They're
Right.
becoming more of the veterans that we gotta look out for. Like, it's always fun to talk about Dark Malo and be like, he has he has a hero pool of 6, but he's so good on these 6 heroes. But everyone talks about Matthew for Thunder Predator and the
Right.
importance of his voice within the team, and having someone that is so experienced, and it's so easy to play with him, right? Which is why I also think Thunder Predator is a really hard team to beat for Apple King of Kings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Is how do because that's something else that we should sort of reckon with, is that we've been talking up Apu King of Kings and how good they've looked, and it's worth noting that a lot of those games that they've been playing, I think the Lava one, you could have maybe expected that one, maybe it could have gone either way. The No Ping to me felt like it was the big one where they came in and it was like, holy moly, these guys are the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've beaten SG. But this to me feels like it's one of the other big tests, because they did lose
Yep.
to Beast Coast, which is what you would anticipate. But this matchup feels like it's going to be one that they're coming in with a ton of momentum. They could win this. I still think it would be an underdog situation, but it's definitely a possibility.
Mm-hmm. I think I honestly think that the toughest one for them for this league was Thunder, more so than
Yeah.
Beast Coast. Even though Beast
Really?
Coast considered the best team, as you've stated and restated, they're prone to mistakes sometimes, right? They
Right.
do this. Thunder, I wouldn't consider them in that point. Again, if to talk more about the Matthew mentality, when he originally left Thunder, which is now Lava, right? Back then it was they were Thunder, and he left the team. He was replaced by Moose. And when that whole debacle happened, which was a big drama in the SA community, a whole meme spawned from that, where they had communication issues, right? That was the meme, because they didn't want to explain
Mm,
what happened. But the reality was that it was actually communication issues, and the fact that
right.
was that Matthew is a big talking player. He likes to discuss every play. He likes to have discussions post game. And Thunder Predator, now Lava is a team of mutes. Frank doesn't speak. Minos doesn't speak. Moose now kind of carries the team by doing that. So
Okay.
when he found himself and previously Noping, now Thunder, he always explained that what he loved about this team is that they were much more willing to speak and discuss these ideas. And he felt like that was much more at home. And teams that are much more willing to discuss and speak are much less prone to tilting or being beaten by a
Right.
strategy that they find is really strong. They always find their footing. And that's what's scary about Thunder when it comes to these matchups. King of Kings can't just get a freebie off them, because I think they're a bit more consistent than even Beast Ghost.
Right. Well, and sometimes there will be a situation where if players aren't like talking as much too, you can kind of just fall into patterns, which can become,
Yes.
I think, a
Very good
lot more
point.
easy to exploit. Like, you anticipate where that player is going to be farming next, or where that smoke rotation is going to go. It's like, okay, well, we need to get these lanes pushed out, and then we're going to make a smoke, and it's so clearly telegraphed what's going to happen that, having somebody that has like that other thought, the little spark that comes out, a little ingenuity in the play, that can make all the difference in the world.
Mm.
Again, granted, that's just sort of my own third party recognition of what I've seen when teams release their voice logs, which, by the way, more teams do that, please. That's the best content out there
That's
right
so
now.
good.
I freaking love it. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. People have been asking that since like 10-3, 10-2, right? Just give us the voice comms. They're always so valuable. Here's a little tidbit for Thunder Predator's voice comms that I think fits what you're saying.
What's that? What? Oh, I got it. Wait, what? I don't get it.
I can't. I wasn't a joke. I can't tell. That was just that wasn't timed. Is he being heard by the audience as well?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, I am hearing him because I muted Trent. That's why you're doing it. I didn't hear anything that Trent was saying. So if y'all could hear him out there, that's wonderful.
I hope they could hear Trent. And we could include Trent into the image as well.
Here.
Can we see his face? Oh, look at him. Look at Trent. Hi. He's real.
You look
Is
great.
this like my normal setup, guys?
You look so good.
You look great.
Crazy, but there is snow, thunderstorm, and the transfer outside of my exploded. And so I called up my bud. I was like, "Yo, you still got power?" And he did. So I drove. Oh, I'm breaking down.
I low-key think that this is worse. So Trent, we're gonna kick you out for the moment.
Yep. Don't worry, Trent. Go fix that transformer.
We're gonna get it sorted. I'm eating you.
Long time casting partners. That's when they get to say these things to each other. All right, draft is up. I'm sorry I stopped there, Lyrical. I was hearing Trent's voice and I got confused there.
This is what happened when you told me that. I heard this thing that was like, you just talked about teams that like didn't communicate well, and then you left it off as like, and this is some Thunder Predator communication, and then you just stopped talking. So you're making a joke about it.
Oh, that would be a great meme, but I'm not that clever, unfortunately. No. I'll talk about it in the second game because we have a draft here, an exciting draft, and Thunder Predator. They're bringing back the Monkey King. Here that was very popular as first pick, first ban in TI. Kind of fell off, honestly, in DPC, favored by other heroes a bit more. And even with Weaver in the pool, they're still going for the Monkey King. This is a Matthew special. The teams that are still running Monkey King as first pick, they can probably play as 4, maybe even as 5, but Matthew hasn't played this hero for forever. He was playing Monkey King 4 when it wasn't even a good pick. And obviously, they can also flex it into the core roles of 1 and 3. So, big flex pick for them. TI-style Monkey King.
Yeah, I like it. Looking back through a couple of their most recent games, it looks like they weren't actually getting it banned that often against him. So maybe this is, again, some of that innovation that happens after a little bit of a break of going back to that thing that you felt like was strong before, but then maybe didn't for a bit. I'm interested to see. They take out the Treant Protector, one of the most highly prioritized heroes for Apu King of Kings, one of their most picked, along with Invoker. With both of those gone, that just want to try and push them out of their comfort zone a little bit here. And Timber Lion opening. Huh.
Interesting. This is a classic, like very old opening, to be honest. It was in case people don't know, the history of this opening is actually quite interesting. There was a while where Timbersaw was countered a bit more so than now. And a lot of heroes would actually beat him consistently. One of those was Morphling, and people figured out that if you actually run Timbersaw with Lion, you had enough kill potential to threaten heroes like Morphling. And it was actually one of the best lanes against some of the older counters like Morphling, Gyrocopter, that were not as hard as, say, the Luna, for example. So Timber Lion were very popular back then. But interestingly, you would run it here. Maybe their thinking is to prevent the Monkey King carry. Timber Lion does have kill potential against Monkey King carry. Still not the good lane, though, but...
Right. I mean, it's a little bit weird because I think that there is some like early pressure potential that you can make with Monkey King at level 1. But it's like kind of an all-in-y type of thing. And if it doesn't go well, then your whole lane just sort of sucks from there. But they're running through these picks pretty quickly. You're anticipating, though, that you feel like this is the thought that it's between a 4 and a 1 flex on Monkey.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you would pick it otherwise this early, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we've seen some teams in Eastern Europe that have prioritized it really heavily. I'm trying to remember who Alberta plays for. Is it Monaco Gambit? One of those guys. Anyways, a couple of those different teams. I think Virtus
not to great success though. That's
fair.
I would say.
Yeah.
But in the Battleriders, almost certainly for Dark Mago, that's one of his best heroes. And also they gave him a Timber, so he's just really happy to pick up the Bat Rider. Usually, this is like Thunder Predator back in the, or again, no ping as they were called before, where you just pick Dark Mago's hero within the first 2 picks. That way he doesn't get banned. He doesn't matter what his lane matchup looks like because he just wins it. That was what Panda used to say all the time. He's like, I don't care. I'll pick Dark Mago, whatever. He wins the draft, but it's fine because he's so good that he wins the mid lane anyway. And you can pick a last pick carry that can secure you the game. And since it's Pacaz, which is probably the second best carry in Peru right now, you're pretty confident to just get him last pick here or close to last pick. I mean, maybe 8th pick considering the order of the draft.
Right. I will say that with this Bat Rider taken now, I'm wondering with the like early pressure that's going to be mounted from Timbersaw, like that sort of feels like it's an even matchup, right? Where the Bat can maybe follow the Timber and stop him from trying to pressure a tower or whatever. But I want to see like what Thunder Predator's offlane is here. Like if they run back for the Tidehunter that we've seen time and time again from them, or if they need to go for something that's like a little bit better at trying to hold off pressure, like an Underlord maybe or something. Not sure.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
I don't know. That's an interesting.
So my thought process
is
is that it just feels like it, with the Bat Rider, like when Dark Mago's playing it, is it tend to be like sort of scaling later, or is it like we go all in on Pacaz?
Oh no, this is like he scales, he farms on the Bat Rider.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, I think he farms on every hero, even if they don't want him to.
Okay, got it.
One of the biggest things with Dark Mago in the beginning was actually trying to get him to stop farming. Like the team had meetings with him, going like, "Do you think this is a good situation to farm?" And they were showing like a clip, and he'd be like, "Yeah, of course." And like, "No, let me show you why not." And that was like them just trying to get it into his head.
That's amazing.
So usually Bat Rider, I think, is a scaling hero. I'm trying to figure out what King of Kings is trying to do here, though. I don't really understand.
It looks to me like they just want to win the lane super hard, right?
Right? Yeah. But like it is so off meta, right? Like I'm wondering why they were forcing these picks over, say, more popular picks like Weaver and stuff like that.
Well, so the one thing that sort of makes sense to me here is
Mhm.
if they're trying to maybe punish this Monkey King pick, like if they can sort of shut down Matthew's ability to lane well and just pick these like super hard laning heroes, Timber, if he gets through the first couple levels with the Lion, can maybe try and like get a kill solo even on him or like combo together with him.
Mhm.
And maybe this is why you take that Abba now to ensure that you can have a little bit more strength in those lanes. But it feels like that's the idea of Apu King of Kings, saying we're just going to punish this maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's okay. Let's see if it works out for them. I think that Thunder Predator doesn't have particularly the weakest lanes here though. Now, like once you pick up the Abba, as you mentioned, which is also one of Panda's best hero, by the way. Like he's known for these saves. Is Oracle Abba. Before he played the Viper 5 that he's so popular for. Like these were the heroes he used to play a lot. And then you combine this with the Gyrocopter, which is a good matchup against Timber. Again, it's one of those classic matchups that Lion Timbersaw actually does pretty well against. But because Gyrocopter can just kind of keep his distance, play this a bit more defensively, it's not that bad. OD though, as an answer to Bat Rider, is that matchup is OD favored, right?
I think that no matter what, at some point in the game, it's going to be like you're just not going to be able to stay in lane against that OD. You can get to the Meteor Hammer, okay, but I think that there's probably some kill potential from Bat Rider early if OD doesn't play around his Astro well.
So like one mistake you mean, and then the Bat Rider just punishes you hard.
Right, exactly. Right. Like a flame break and fire flying over the top. It feels like there's some kill potential there.
Yeah, I could see that too. Because I would think that a priori you see the Bat Rider and you go, right, you just astral him when he comes at you, no problem, right? But I guess you can, because I've seen some Bat Riders actually deviate into more flame break builds. Like you can get a second point in flame break with napalm, and then that way you don't need firefly. Yeah. Like some of the top tier, like hero spammer like the Mago, where they just want to win the lane no matter what. I think there's more versatility to the hero than most people have shown us.
Well, and I'm sure that if he's been playing pubs recently, he's been playing against ODs with Bat. If he's a Bat spammer.
That's true. Yeah, he's a grinder as well. This guy will play like I'm not kidding, 11, 12 matches a day. So he probably has that engraved in his mind right now.
So Apu King of Kings have last pick. I agree. They're probably looking for some like Agi tower hitter.
Mhm.
Luna. I mean, I guess it's going to depend on what Thunder Predator take.
Right. Because they're still missing their offlaner.
Yeah.
So they banned Veno. What are you thinking, you the Veno? Maybe they're thinking.
I could maybe see Darkseer here actually, as much as
Oh, for
that's a
Thunder?
meme for me at this point for Thunder Predator. Like, you know that they're going to go some big right-clicking core at the end here, and I think
Yeah.
you have an okay time in lane.
I think the Veno pick though to me is a little bit indicative of maybe. I was thinking maybe a Void, to be honest with you.
Faceless Void?
Just
Oh no, they just go back for their Tide Hunter.
that's
Yeah,
good,
that
that's
makes
good.
sense.
Yeah, classic Oscar hero. Yeah, that's very good. Just the Veno and DP bans like target like a couple of specific heroes that are not particularly popular in meta. Just odd bans.
Yeah.
So you see Tide.
Luna?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, Luna never feels too bad. I think TB's not that great here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for the TB.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of the TB or Luna because TB also wins the Tide, beats the Tide, sorry, in lane. But then you have the Bad Rider, right? Which I thought was a bad matchup for TB.
Yeah. I guess you can, like, you've got some more save with, like, OD, and maybe that's what they're hoping to sort of cause some issues with. Mini can make up for that early pressure, can get in time to save. I don't know. God. How do I feel about this one? Oh, hey!
Hey guys,
Trent.
what's going on?
How's it going, dude?
How's my setup going now? Huh? You still good?
sound
Much better.
good.
Much better.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. All right.
So what are your final thoughts, Trent? You got like seconds to give us your conclusions. It better be a good one.
I'm going with not TB. I feel like the ABBA looks pretty solid to me. It looks pretty good. I will say we had an amazing Undying game earlier today, so
Mhm.
maybe you get a similar start. But like Matthew on the Monkey King, I don't know, looks pretty good. So yeah, I kind of agree with you, Avo. I saw that TB coming, I was like, maybe. But OD's gonna make like the major saves, you know.
Okay. Lyrical?
I'll agree. I'll agree. We'll be a biased panel. Thunder Predator
Let's
got
go. Anti-TB panel. Let's go, guys. We're not against teams. We're only against heroes. Will TB be able to make it work? Or will Bad Rider, Dark Mago, and Matthew Monkey King make it out again? We're going to have to see. But for this wonderful engagement, we have a casting pair, a new casting pair we get to unveil for the second half of the season. So exciting. She's back to SA. It's going to be Moxxi and Purge.
Thank you so much, Avo. Thank you, panel. How you doing over there, Purge? It's got to be a little bit late for you right now.
I mean, it's fine for me. It's like 9 p.m.
No big deal at all. We're already getting into the action. Matthew is going to fall here as the first blood, and then he's going to be feeling pretty good about that. I got to say, Purge, I miss this. Like, we've been covering a lot of other regions, and SA, man, they just love to fight right off the bat.
They really do so far. I mean, it makes sense. There's little tricks that you can do with observer ward stuff, like getting your wards down, blocking camps, stuff like that. So, you know, butting heads a little bit is a good way to start the game.
You're seeing camp getting blocked off right over here on the side. Oscar is just hanging out here. But calm down just a little bit for the time being.
I think that'll be a little interesting. I kind of liked how they did the Undying in the draft. They basically pick it knowing their opponent's self and pick their offlaners. The vast majority of offlaners right now are strength melee heroes. So without revealing too much in their draft, maybe picking a little bit interestingly, but it should give them a relatively stable lane. And he's likely feels comfortable playing the hero against Monkey as well. So he basically knew that they were going to get this like dual lane. That wasn't going to be that big of a worry for them at the start of the game. Later on, we'll see how it works. But don't forget, he can break trees with Tombstone as well. Many options here for Serum.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Is that you've got a lot of these different heroes that are, you know, in classic matchups, you know exactly how they're supposed to work, but sometimes you get these little advantages where you can use, you know, like you said, the Tombstone to go and break the trees or whatnot. And that's what makes it just such a more valuable pick when you think with portals like that.
For sure. There's always the benefit that they don't really have that many ranged heroes either. Another good thing going for him. So killing Tombstone later on might be a bit tough for the players on Thunder Predator. But Thunder Predator has been playing amazing throughout the season so far. I don't think they've had a game go longer than about 30 minutes or 35 minutes so far. So if Apu Kings can even get a W or a close game, it's going to be a huge sign for their true talent.
I mean, that's the big deal, right? The fact that, they used to be Dinamistas. A lot of people were like, oh, this team's not very good. We heard Alvaro talk about it on panel saying that, Hector was like, yeah, no, there's no way these guys do very well. So to see them be able to hold their own against, like, the top team would be huge for them.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So do you like, I know that the panel was very Thunder Predator on board with their draft, right? Do you think that Apu King of Kings has something here that they can make work, or?
They can. I mean, there's some downsides. Like, they don't have the best disable. They have some save, obviously, with OD. He can save, like, lasso targets or people that get gone on by Thunder Predator. But, like, I just feel like if Batrider really gets off the rails here and he's able to dive and be aggressive the whole time, it's going to be a little difficult for Apu King of Kings to deal with it, because they just don't have the best ways to just shut down aggressive plays. It's basically just lying, and a lot of times that he does that, he's now showing and gets gone on by the enemy squad himself. So he's got to be a bit careful.
That is going to make things a little bit more difficult. I mean, we see a lot of the OD, and that seems to be, a fairly good pickup, generally speaking, as long as he can accelerate. But Dark Mago over on his Batrider, like, this guy is serious business, and that's got to be something that, has to be lingering in the minds of Apu King of Kings right now.
For sure. I mean, currently OD's having a great time. He's 12-5 versus Batrider's 8-2, so he's got a little last hitting advantage that hopefully for his favor gets a little bit more extreme. And if he does get ran at, he can also just banish Batrider and walk away. He's already picked up a 20 stick that he's accrued from his time with Batrider, which is also really sick because OD doesn't really have that many mana costs, so he can actually just hold this magic wand the whole time. So he's got two ways to save himself. A 20 stick that's pretty much always there, and banishes like this to buy a little bit of time. The only downside to it is it lowers Batrider's max mana, which makes his bottling more efficient. So Batrider is also going to have a pretty available mana pool that we'll likely see here.
I'd be interested to see if they send over a support or something to try to intercept this Meteor Hammer timing that Mini will be going for eventually here.
Yeah, that's always really important. And that's something Apu King of Kings has been doing really good, is his support rotations around water runes or power rune spawns. But because OD's been doing well so far, he did almost get killed here, apparently in the mid lane. His HP's a bit low, used his 26. More fight bottom though.
Oh man, yeah, look at this. This aggression coming out here from Apu King of Kings. They wanted the skill on Matthew. And I was looking a little bit close with the reflection, but not going to be able to quite find it, although got a monkey hanging out in the tree line, and Dark Mago is making his first rotation, only sitting at level 4, though. They're going to try to punish Benny, going just a bit too far, turns back around, get Flame Break right back into the tower, and Dark Mago is going to be very happy that he made this rotation.
Yeah, that's a good one. Rotated over to grab his bounty rune, I assume, and as a result, he's like, well, I'm already half here and they're diving, so I might as well go turn it into a gank. And sometimes those are the best ganks. They're just really valuable for accelerating your team here. Pick off the TB, that forces him to teleport back. He gets a full heal, but yeah, rough one there. But good rotation.
I just noticed, too, over in the triangle area, they tried to block off that camp earlier, but they immediately threw down that sentry. They identified the issue over on the side of Thunder Predator, so they want to make sure that they can continue to do stacks eventually for their Rider or their gyrocopter, of course.
Yeah, I think that large camp stack has actually been so valuable to a lot of mid spammers right now that have AoE. Queen of Pains, Leshracs, Lenas, Batriders, those kinds of AoE nukers. Stacking that large camp is a really good way to accelerate them after the laning stage. So yeah, keeping that blocked is going to help. That's something Matthew would have loved to be able to stack. Monkey King's so mobile as well. It's easy for him to get over there and get stacks done if it's unblocked. So unfortunately for him, he'll have to start now.
I think that's all right, though. I think it's all right to take a little bit more time rather than put it out too early. But yeah, lots of people here over on the side of Predator and take stacks. And Matthew just doing Matthew things. This is one thing I've always loved about this player when I've watched him over the years, is that he likes to play kind of... I mean, obviously now the Monkey King 4 is more popular, but I remember when this dude was running the Void Spirit 4, like one of the few people who was doing it, and was just able to do so much nonsense and chase with that hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's basically trying to keep an eye on his enemy heroes, even placing another ward in the same area, just to make sure they can see when OD hits his hammer timing. It's got to be close, and that's why he's playing here. Because really all you need is a stun. If you interrupt the meteor, this is a tip for Ag's Lab, by the way, guys, not a tip for regular Dota. When he banishes you and he begins casting meteor hammer, you just got to stun it, interrupt it, and the whole thing is worked.
Ooh, Hainsey's was a little bit off the mark with that stun. We'll go use the Astral Imprisonment, but you can see they're already making these rotations, and Matthew in position here. Gonna try to put some more damage out over onto this Lion. The chase down, he's got the Hex, they've got the Firefly. Good little miniature Ravage. Is it gonna be enough, though, to keep Hainsey alive? They need maybe 1 or 2 more clicks. He's using the Salve, and this little Lion's gonna survive.
Nicely done. So Matthew tries to get something out of it effectively, but unfortunately for them, Lion was just a bit too fast there. He really ran his courier up between the tier 1 and tier 2. My courier would have died like 40 seconds before that, but he's a infinitely better player than me. Keeps an eye on it. And there's the Meteor Hammer coming. Let's see. Nah, Wave gets pushed in by Dark Mago, and now they are going to go for an Undying kill if they can get it.
And Matthew's got those Jingo strikes up, and looks like they're going to try to go for an interception. A little bit of a boundless here as the rest of the team making their way over. Gush comes out. Matthew jumping in here. Dark Mago again. Beautiful stun coming out from Hainsey, keeping him alive just long enough here. It looks like Sam's actually going to survive, and Matthew taking too much damage. Meteor Hammer comes through. They'll take down Matthew. They'll take down Dark Mago at the same time.
That's the way to punish these great rotations. To draw the fight towards your tower, get your mid to counter rotate, and now you've got an even engagement. And they're going to possibly pressure this tower a good amount here. Still got about 20 seconds left on meta here.
The way Minnie's playing it, you do see the teleports coming in. Seram's sitting a little bit low. Good banishment here coming out from Minnie. He's not going to be able to go for the wind-up, though, for the hammer. Turns around, drops the big ol' hammer. The Sanity's Eclipse. They'll get a kill on Panda. As the fight continues now, Benny, he's out of meta, though. Like, they're just going to keep pushing very carefully. They've got a Cardi Wave. Minnie looking for the opening. They're still defending pretty well. They see Matthew over here is in the top lane. Oh, Pakaz goes down to Valky. They have the banishment. Good stun, though. Gonna be able to cancel out the Meteor Hammer. Matthew jumping back down. They've got their eyes on Hainsey. Serum tries to get some of these to case off. No, they're gonna end up losing the Lion. Now Dark Mago, oh, he wants this so bad. He's got a lasso. He'll get the drag back over onto Benny. Can they burst him down? Looks like they've got plenty here, although they'll go throw him into that Astral Imprisonment. A little bit more time. Benny, no, the jump down from Matthew will ensure that they get the kill on the Terrorblade. They're dropping that tombstone. They're just gonna cut that down as fast as possible. Oscar's a big tanky lad, but again, Dark Mago on the back lines here. Force them back as Matthew, he's been allowed to monkey around for so long. The Boundless lands over onto 2, but eventually they'll get the kill.
I mean, Minnie just keeps owning here. He's made really good decisions. He was very careful on his Meteor Hammer use. Wanted to hit Oscar while also killing the tower. Tower dies the catapult. They retreat. He delays the deaths coming to his allies. So even though TB gets pressured, the fact that they killed that tier 1 tower is huge. Because that means that even pressuring or ganking that lane where TB or Lion, whoever wants to farm, is going to take tons more time. They can't just look and be like, oh, I'm supposed to be in the off lane now. Time to TP. They have to TP to the tier 2. Then they have to walk like 10 seconds just to get to the tier 1 position. So this is going to give Lion an even easier time to get a faster Blink Dagger here. He's already off to a good start. 800 gold for him. They're 4-0 on the OD. The only person that's suffering a little bit was really the TB. But his net worth is not far behind Gyrocopter, so he's completely fine right now.
He's got a couple stacks to sink his teeth into, but they do have some nice vision coming out from Matthew. Again, this is definitely his kind of hero, being able to be very elusive, getting a lot of information. And look at Dark Mago. He sees this going on. He wants to punish it. It's going to be the jump down from the Monkey King. The Firefly can go for the Sunder Blade, though. Mago has to be careful. That reflection, a bit of damage to himself as we end up losing Panda Move with the follow-up here. Can they take down Benny? Yes, they can. Valky making his way over now. Rest of Apu, King of Kings, looking for the opening. Dark Mago, he's got to get out of there quickly, but the Chakram coming out, just slowing him down just enough. Another Timber Chain goes, pops that stick. Gonna try to just get some more distance away from Valky, and it looks like he might be able to do it. No, not with Minnie here. Minnie, no, he doesn't even need to be here. Valky will cut down Dark Mago.
Great response kill. Good pressure on the TB, good Sunder and everything, but it's going to slow down his net worth, but Timber is going to stay towards the top of the net worth for the rest of this game, most likely. But in the meantime, Gyro has gotten a lot of net worth now. Sitting at 5,000, he's a full 1,000 separation from TB. So the pressure they're putting on TB is definitely very effective. But later on in the game, I imagine that the TB Gyro matchup is pretty decent for the Terrorblade. Because Gyro is very AoE heavy, but some of it's physical, some of it's magic damage. But if TB can sit at the back semi-protected, It's gonna be hard to kill.
And, you know, Timbersaw, generally a hard-to-kill hero as well. As they went and they used the lasso, but they do manage to get the bounce back. A good save here coming out from Sarah, and the Boundless landing into place. And it looks like Pandamoo will be able to clean up on Timbersaw. So they ended up using the lasso for that. It took a little bit more, though, what I think they were intending to use to take him out, but definitely will slow down the side of Apu King of Kings than letting this guy just roll around all over the place.
I wonder if lag actually impacted the start of that. That's why they ended up using lasso, because Matthew did queue up his stun. He ended up canceling it or something like that. Timber got his first chain off and therefore got very separated. I think if there was no lag there, Matthew definitely hits that stun, interrupts the Timber chain, and they just probably kill Timber under the tower, maybe not committing lasso. So a bit unfortunate there for Thunder Predator, but they are getting kills on the map. But the downside is there's a slight gold advantage going towards Apu, King of Kings, that they're cleaning up in the meantime. So, and OD's playing bottom at full confidence level. Here's a little bit of that replay from the earlier fight here. Matthew going for the dive with help from their allies. Very easy Timber or kill on the Terrorblade.
You sound like my pub's just easy Timber, GG. Yeah, the chase on over here. You get that little miniature Ravage, I believe, with that Impale. Yeah, look at that. 3 right in a row. Buys Hainsey's just enough time. And he's going to actually survive that engagement.
These banishes were really good to set up the fight. I mean, stun's already been used. Easy kill on the Batrider. This is how we got to begin that fight later on. A self-banish, which is gonna, or a banish on his ally, which buys him time to get some right clicks in, reposition his hero, and then gets another right click down kill. Very effective cleanups early in the game. It's gonna help.
Yeah, I missed that earlier on during that not that fight before, but the one before that. I didn't realize that the Meteor Hammer actually connected over onto 2, which was actually such a huge impact during that.
Yeah. Meteor Hammer. What a beautiful item.
I remember when that came out, and I just remember everyone was like, there's no way anyone's gonna buy this item. It's a meme.
Well,
like, you know, no one does it. Now it's just in every game. Just
the initial review was an item that stuns, that's so broken, but then they started buying it on everybody. They're like, oh, this is garbage. It doesn't work well. And then, you know, eventually people realize, like, oh, you just need the right hero that can set up for it. There's options for it. It's not the best item, certainly, but on the right heroes like OD, it's excellent. Makes a lot of sense.
Was that from the official Purge patch notes of like the 9 hours that you did when that came out?
No, I remember seeing tweets and stuff like that everyone was like blown away, because at the time there were not that many items that stunned. It was like Basher, Scythe of Ice, basically. So the idea that an item could stun seemed really powerful. The stuns were so good at the time. They are still good, obviously, but AoE stun that damages heroes and creeps, so broken.
All right, we have a smoke play coming out from the side of Apu King of Kings. Looks like they're thinking someone's going to try to jump on Mini, but they see Dark Maga over here. Matthew hanging up over on the side.
Dire's middle tower is
Being
under
very
Sorry,
patient.
Radiant's bottom tower
Nicely
is
done.
under attack.
That stun is what you need to interrupt this whole pressure, and that's one of the downsides for Apu King of Kings' lineup, is that outside of Meteor Hammer, they do not push towers without TB. It is not going to happen. And TB's going to be hitting a lot of creeps right now. So that's literally all Matthew had to do to slow this down. Instead, the tower takes like 300 less damage. Doesn't have a Meteor Hammer here for the follow-up. Let's see if they can get a kill.
We'll end up using the stun and the body blocks over here on Pandamoo. We'll go get that Tombstone getting dropped, but just not much that he can do. Again, it's a position 5. I think you're okay with that if that's the only person who falls there.
Like this, he's hiding in the trees to cast it. That way Matthew can't see him. He doesn't know for sure if it's being casted, so he lands the Meteor Hammer. Good way to update the meta. And there's the Midas after the hammer. Very common OD build right now. Gives you the attack speed you want. He's going to use his courier to scout for the Midas usage, and they'll reset. So they're basically doing like little chip damage to the mid tower to try to open that up. They know they're not ready to commit to it, but the upside is that for Thunder Predators, that the game's actually even again. Their net worth has been shored up. And that's probably just a result that their heroes as a whole farm a lot faster. OD with Midas is definitely going to do fine, but the fact that he's 5-0 and 2 and he's not even close to Gyrocopter's net worth is just indicative of one of the negatives of OD core.
I mean, part of that too is just the fact that this is Pakaz. Like, he's one of the best cores in South America. You know, there's a whole rivalry between, you know, Ektor and him. in the sense of like who really is the top core in terms of being able to farm, being able to make these impacts. And one thing that I've always liked a lot about Purge is the fact that he'll go very early on and start being a part of fights generally. This time he's kicked back, he's had a little bit more space, but this is a guy that like he knows where to get creeps. In fact, he's getting creeps brought to him right now from Phantom.
Matthew's basically just dominating this this mid game though. He's basically everywhere that OD is. He interrupts some kill potential on the Batrider. Batrider instantly TPs mid, pushes in that lane, forces his opponents to drag their butts across the map to where he's playing instead of vice versa. But finally, Apu King Kings is going to go for another kill here. They pop a smoke and they will be invading and looking for a kill in the jungle. But the timing couldn't be worse. Oh no, Undying breaks smoke. He spots Tidehunter. They go for the ward check and they just got unlucky there. That's a tough one for him. It's a downside to walking up cliffs like that when smoked. It's like if your opponents happen to be at that camp or walking by, smoke gets broken.
Yeah, you need the vision, but you know what? You can always just jump in, find big Ravage coming out from Oscar as the rest of the team starts collapsing around here. They didn't manage to get that kill using that smoke. Do have the meta pop though, so they're going to try to put pressure over onto the mid tower. Because continuing to just farm away here.
A bit interesting. He's happy with it, but yeah, we'll see if they can get the tower. But defending is gonna be harder without Ravage. Yeah, and they walk away. They realize like approaching this is just way too difficult once he commits meta.
Gonna go for the gush, so they're gonna try to make a play over onto Mini. The follow up here, throw out the Astral Imprisonment, and they're gonna just keep plunking away over the back line. So now they'll be able to get Hainsey the drag back with the Lassa over onto Mini. They'll be able to punish the OD. And we do get another pause here coming out. Even I got a little bit of lag during that.
I could definitely, I just felt that lag as well. That was basically just OD being too far up there. I think he tried to get a catch or something with Banish. And then he got flame breaked backwards. Yeah, he gets stunned. Stayed basically after the tower was dead. Then they realized, oh, he's way out of position. He banished himself correctly, realizing his danger. Lion tries to save him, but it's just super over at that point. So that's those are kind of game-losing mistakes, really. And maybe it doesn't matter in the end if Thunder Predator makes some mistakes, but losing two heroes in this moment, that's going to mean that now Thunder Predator has a really good shot of pressuring or killing the tier 1 tower that they're facing, at least getting some damage into it. I mean, they've got Ags and Yasha and Gyro. His physical damage is quite high right now. They did burn Lasso for this, so they've got about 20 seconds here. But Tide just being tanky seems to be enough right now, even though he doesn't have Ravage.
What's going to be even scarier is that after that fight, he did finish off his Blink Dagger, too. So they're going to have to be very cognizant of that fact going forward into a lot of these fights coming out now from the side of Apu King of Kings. Because, yes, the Blink Ravage is always terrifying, but even, being able to jump forward and getting a slow off with Gush and kind of, presenting yourself forward is difficult for them to kind of deal with at this time.
Yeah, definitely, especially because their disables are a bit weak. They don't have the best AoE control, so a tanky hero like Tidehunter that they don't want to commit damage to is going to feel like a waste of a hero to slap. So let's see what they do with this 2-hero advantage they just got. For now, they pressure the tower a little bit. Timber is going to offset this a little with Chakram, and I guess that might just be enough to slow things down. They're not really going to want to tank with Abaddon or with Tidehunter. Instead, they will just take the 2 kills and be content with their victory. Instant D-ward. He saw that one coming with the ward. We'll see if Matthew ends up getting the D-ward later, because it seemed pretty clear to me that Undying knew he was there. But see if he can guess exactly where that ward ends up. So they're going to make a little play for the power rune next. And OD back alive.
Oh, and drop a sentry over here on the side so they can see Sarah making his way over. Probably anticipating that he's going to be warding. Yeah, look at Matthew already.
Okay, they see him.
In position, drops a sentry, sentry on sentry. Nah, they'll just back off.
Yeah, Firefly was low on cooldown, or was low on duration there. If he had Firefly, they definitely go for that kill, but no opportunity, unfortunately. And he spots his movement. This is actually a pretty good ward, because he might see him place a ward. Now they're just going to get the kill.
Yeah, they're just going to chase down Serum here. They've got the Jingu. And they'll even use the Firefly just for extra. I was surprised. I'm guessing Minnie and Hain went together. Yeah, the finger is on cooldown. They managed to take out Tidehunter in the bottom lane, who's fairly tanky. We just talked about it, but I guess when you have that much nuke damage, it's done him into place.
He actually just tried to get Blink faster. He skipped his hood completion. He did still buy Ring of Health, but he didn't finish the dang thing, which is, it's fine. It's an interesting way to adjust your build, but shave off 800 gold, get Blink faster. But now you don't have 20% magic resistance against Finger of Death and against an OD, so or whoever else helped kill him. So yeah, ends up with his death. Matthew's still doing a great job spotting out enemy vision.
I love this. I actually think it's such a good like hero for Matthew, and then also the fact that they have the OD, because the Boundless has such a big range, right? So to be able to like creep in the tree line and then see him, you know, winding up with the meteor hammer, it's just like perfect for a monkey.
Yeah, it definitely is. Works quite well. But with that said, Gyro's net worth is still becoming insane. He's just much more farm than TB is so far. TB does have a Manta complete though, a little bit of a different TB build than we sometimes see. Usually there's a Dragonlance first, for example. Sometimes they get BKB at a reasonable time. That wouldn't be terrible against Batrider, against Tide. But instead, he just wants to be able to split push as fast as possible. And in some ways, Manta is good against Bat anyways, because you can make it harder to lasso the right guy. So he gets to push side lanes better.
Does get to push side lanes better, but they are going to end up losing Panda. Again, that's the position 5, so someone's going to get ganked. That's the one you want. BKB completed, though, now here for the Batrider. And I think we're getting really close to the BKB over on Pakaz, too. So I think once those BKBs are up and running, we could see them get very aggressive over on the side of Thunder Predator.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that they do amazingly well right now as a team. It's like their timings are so crisp. It's like the moment they get their abilities or they hit their levels or get whatever they need, they group instantly and take a really good fight or around a smart objective, whether that's getting a gank into a Roche or beginning Roche and basically forcing their opponents to engage them and then taking a good team fight afterwards. So we'll see what they do. And yeah, they're gonna walk into Roche. They're prepping up napalm stacks on Roche, or just it's just a scout. Never mind. I guess they're gonna farm in the area for now. See if they do anything with that. I assume they would. I guess it's the BKB and Gyro that really matters, and it's flying out right now.
Get a smoke play coming out from Apu, King of Kings. They realize no one's been showing up in this bottom area. They do have some nice wards. So they're going to try to put the pressure down. And look at this. Look at this wrap play. They've drawn it out over on the map.
It's a
They
little...
know that they're searching for something.
Terribly
See the
does
courier?
not have good mana, though. That's the only thing that could hurt them in this fight. We'll see if it makes a difference, but... And needs
This
an
is
arcane.
the BKB for Pakaz. Look at Dark Mago over here on the corner. We'll take the tower. They realize nobody's here, though.
Catching in the back.
Trying to scout ahead.
And their team has good vision. Could be a complete surprise.
No, they are. And look at this. Look at how Panda's in the back line, though, here. All right, they'll open up with the Tombstone. Dark Mago looking for the opening. There's a big call down immediately. Jumping a beautiful Ravage coming out from Oscar. But it's not enough here. As Minnie's forced to go and use the Astral on himself to keep himself alive. As Valky going around over onto the back lines. A big flack. They'll be able to go. They take down Panda. And there's a big finger over on the back lines as they take down Pakaz. Dark Mago and Oscar forced to just flee. Matthew has been left behind, and he's going to get cut down by Valky and Serum here.
That looked really bad for Apu Kings, I thought initially. I mean, they dropped Tombstone down, they used Undying ulti, but instantly Gyro just pops BKB and kills it. So I'm thinking, okay, Tomb's dead. Now things aren't gonna go very well. But after OD came out of his Astral, Lion covers him with a great stun, and that allows him to finally slowly turn around. It's covered in napalm, of course. And he actually got enough damage into the Gyro. So in some ways, the Tomb actually did buy them some nice BKB time and allowed Mini to delay his death. And as a result, get DPS out. So it works out and they get Roche.
Be very happy with that engagement. It was a risky play. I feel like we've been seeing more of these. I think SVG was talking a little bit about it over on the other broadcast, but he says, you know, we've been seeing these very like wide smokes where they kind of wrap around and catch people off by surprise. And yeah, it's a little bit costly, right? Because that's time on the map that you're not farming, that you're not necessarily, you know, making things happen, but if you can land that gank, it's so valuable.
Yeah, and it wasn't clean in the biggest sense, but that's partially just because Thunder Predator was well positioned as well. They had Undying sitting in the back Abaddon sitting in the back to be safe there, and then they had all the BKB heroes in the front, so ends up not going the best.
Absolute pandemonium.
And how many buybacks did they use as well? I saw at least one.
There's Undying bot back.
Yeah, it was just his, so
like right off the bat.
It's not that bad. Not that bad. For the Apu King side, they didn't get that much net worth advantage out of it, but the nice thing that they're aiming for is going to be the Scotty on Terrorblade. When he has Manta and Scotty, he's going to have a lot of illusions. He's going to have really powerful slow against Gyrocopter that'll go through BKB. And that's when life gets very, very difficult for him. Even for Batrider too. The slow is going to be super, super powerful. He doesn't have a BKB on Terrorblade, so that part's a little spooky. But his control, his survivability is going to be quite high, and it's going to be hard for Gyro to kill.
I mean, that's the other thing that's... they have it on both sides, right? You've got the fact that there is not a save necessarily, but you've got, you know, a way to heal coming out from your Undying. You've got, you know, a way to heal coming out from the Abaddon. So you've got these, like, insurance policies, but with a hero like Terrorblade, it is just so much nicer because you have the Sunder, you have an Astral Imprisonment if you need to use it, you know, defensively. I feel like Mini doesn't like to use it defensively, knowing him, but you have all these ways of making sure that, you know, he can stay alive, get things done. So perhaps that's why he's being a bit more greedy in terms of, like, not going for that BKB.
Yeah, that could be it. He's almost got it though now. After that fight was, it's like one of those big fights actually where it completely changes the pace of the game. Because if that fight goes bad and they don't gain net worth advantage from it, hit their BKB timing gets delayed by like 3 or 4 minutes, and maybe they can't. And then their opponents obviously get Roshan, but his BKB gets delayed, the Scotty timing on Terrorblade gets delayed, and everything gets tougher. So the fact that they execute the fight well is going to be huge here for this greediness that they've shown off a bit.
And the Scotty is now online here for Terrorblade. Dark Mago's doing a little bit of harassment. Lion turning back around, but the BKB gets cast, so they're just gonna run down this pesky little Lion. And they're looking for someone else. They're trying to find Mini. Can they grab him in time? Yes, they can! They get the lasso off, the drag back. They'll follow up with the Ravage. Over onto Valky, over onto Mini. They'll cut down this OD. And they'll turn their attentions. It's like they're gonna go top now.
Well, they got a missile on Terrorblade.
Right over. Yeah, they see Benny, and they're going to do everything they can to try to burst him down. It is difficult, though. He does have an Aegis to be on top of that as well. So they're just going to force him away, throw out a missile, and reclaim this jungle area. They go for a smoke, though. Ooh, that's a fast smoke.
They're going to cut him off.
Look at this play from Thunder Predator. They know that he's greedy. They know that he wants to farm. They're going to immediately go and find themselves Aram. He is just obliterated. Chakram gets tossed out, but Matthew, though, the monkey jumping forward, trying to get a little bit more of the slow. Think about going back in. That might be a little bit too greedy. They'll find themselves Hainsey. Oh, Hainsey, you just died to the side of Thunder Predator. He's going to go down again. The rest of the side of Apu running back into their base. Thunder Predator with the quick smoke turnaround. Getting a nice couple pickoffs here over onto these supports.
Yeah, they're just doing a great job punishing their opponents. OD probably should have just teleported out earlier before letting his Meteor Hammer channel bottom, because that death kind of expanded everything. Obviously, Lion getting picked off as well is a part of it, but part of the job for supports is to be that buffer zone. You stand in the middle, maybe you die, but your allies stay alive. So the fact they got both those kills and then profited on it really effectively by running at their opponents was really well done by Thunder Predator. But this is like, you know, the second mistake now by Mini that I've looked at least. That has been kind of big for the team. He's playing great, obviously, but there's little mistakes like that that get punished by good players, and they kind of open up the game in a bad way. So they've got to be careful. And, you know, I would just love it if Terrorblade would dip into the pool. I keep looking at his mana pool. He's got a huge cap, but he, like, never wants to go to Fountain. That's how you keep your farm up, right? But, like, he's missing so much mana. I'm scared for him.
Like, I don't need mana, I just have to hit things. But there is, of course, a Heaven's Halberd picked up, too. So they have to be careful. Hainsey jumping forward. It is, of course, Oscar. It's a big tanky lad. The follow-up, though, quite enough. They need to be careful in their positioning here. Throw the Lotus Orb over onto the TV Illusion. Still connect over onto Benny, perhaps trying to make some sort of cheeky plays. They did drop down the Tombstone, so Paz just going to cut through that. And they didn't have the Ravage. Oh, look at this. I love the way that Thunder Predator does this. They're like, okay, they took an engagement, they didn't get anything out of it, we've got Ravage up, let's just get back in there. They're not going to expect us to hit back this fast, this sneakily. So, a little bit of a wrapping play. They can see Mini over here. They'll go, use the lasso, drag back. There's just too many heroes here to keep this OD alive and kicking. As Mago, he's hungry. He wants more. Matthew, already jumping forward. Hainsey, nice jump there. We'll be able to go and slow down Matthew. As this bat's just flying directly at Apu, King of Kings. They made their way right across the map, but it looks like, all right, they might back off now. A little bit of farming, clear up.
And they got OD.
And maybe put some pressure on the
They're
top lane. Yeah,
happy.
I mean, they were very happy about that.
Yep.
And that's the Aegis reclaim now.
Yep, they saw him move down to that position with an older ward. They are pinging it on the Radiant side. See if it's there. It's not on the cliff though. So yeah, they don't know where this observer ward is. That got OD killed. There's an estimation now, thinking it's over to the right.
They're looking
but here they come.
everywhere, and they just aren't quite there.
Oh, they still
There you go.
haven't
There's
found
the
it.
sentry. They still haven't found it. Oh, what a ward.
Absolutely breaks their ankles. Kills the core. Map pressure continues. They've got their next items now. Over on the Thunder Predator side, S and Y for Gyro. He's going for as Lincoln Sphere afterwards is the goal. That way he doesn't have to worry about Sunder anymore. Or OD Banish. Both good solutions are solved by that. Yeah, there it is. Lincoln's finished. It's a great item for mana regen. Maybe TV should consider investing in it. Oh, just kidding.
You were
I'm
so
just kidding. He
upset
died.
about this mana.
Well,
Yeah, he's got mana now, 'cause he
that
died.
one fight top was really spooky because he's running into this like big fight with like 200 mana, and I'm like, okay, he's got to cast meta. That's 100. He might need to Sunder. That's 100. Manta's 125. I'm like, oh god, what decision do you make? It's really scary, you know. And that in those like pivotal moments, it's like, got to make the right calls, and they did in those examples. I'm just kidding, mostly. Genuinely, the mana is not that beautiful. He's managing great. I do find that dying is a great way to refill my mana pool. Let me tell you from experience.
Dire's bottom tower
You have
is under
the Orchid online here for the Monkey Kings. Be interested to see how he approaches these fights using that in particular.
It's great against supports, really. Even if you don't necessarily damage them, just preventing them from casting spells for 5 seconds. It's not a cheap thing for supports to solve. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to get BKB or Lotus Orb or whatever. It's just like, okay, I'm silenced for 5 seconds. Let's see if I can survive.
I mean, Hainsey, like, you've seen just the way he's been able to turn around some of these fights, being able to, like, throw out the Earth Spikes and whatnot. I think that's definitely very valuable, because that is the primary form of their lockdown, coming out from the side of Apu, King of Kings. So definitely a worthwhile target, which is interesting, because, you know, again, not the cheapest item, but very, you know, effective against dealing with these lockdowns.
He's a hard one to catch, though. Lions typically sit on the back line. I think it's much more likely that it's going to be on Undying, the guy that has to face check the enemy team. If you can silence him before he pops Tomb or Flesh Golems, for example, it's going to make the beginning of your fight so much easier, actually. But for now, Thunder Predator's doing a great job controlling the map. They've extended their lead into a 9k gold advantage. Got a Paladin Sword and a Titan Sliver, both on the same team. How do you make that choice here? He's going to go for the Titan Sliver, actually,
Radiant's top tower is under
on the
attack.
Terrorblade. Doesn't want lifesteal. He's got Sunder. He's fine.
Apu, King of Kings just insists. Oh, gonna run into like 3 over here. Matthew, look for the vision though. Oh, there it is. There's the silence. Poor Valky. He does have the Lotus Orb though. He's gonna be able to purge it off.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They got the Instant Observer Ward, D Ward too.
Get a bit of a
That one feels
hit up
good.
on the sides. All right, Apu going in for their own smoke now after that engagement. Hoping they can get the jump. They do have the Blink Dagger over on the Bat Rider this time around. We'll throw out, you know, just some illusions. Look at the way that they're positioning. Crossing the river.
Radiant's middle tower
Just
is
gonna
under
show.
attack.
All right, they'll show over on the tower. You can see Pakaz. Sarah, smoke will break because of Matthew. Jump down. Okay, there's the silence immediately over, followed up
Good
with
banish.
a Ravage. Letting over onto several of them. Many though over onto the back lines. It's the Lotus Orb, but it doesn't matter because they'll be able to hold him until he's using that lasso. They need a little bit more damage. Can they take down Mini is the question. And it looks like they're not going to be able to. They tried really hard to turn back around over onto Dark Mago. Using a finger. The snowball's just flying coming out from Bunny as they take down Pandamoo. That is not the way that they wanted that to go at all. My goodness. There's a regen rune here from Minnie. They can still
Oh,
see
man.
Oscar. They're going right back down this mid lane.
Perfect fight there for Apu. It looked a little dangerous with Undying getting Orchided. He looked very, very dead, but luckily they were able to banish him the second before he ends up getting caught. And then the BKB barely in time, and the Lotus Orb offsets all of the dangerous stuff Bat Rider's trying to do. And then that heal from Undying and the Spider Legs gets him out. And then the stun from Lion. Oh, it was what a team fight. Very beautiful fight.
Dire's middle
Reaction
tower
just
is
so
under
fast coming out from the side of Apu, King of Kings. As Minnie finds himself another kill here. Found himself Matthew was monkeying around a little bit too much. He's trying to get that information.
Mhm.
But just like that, they take the mid tower. They'll be able to put some pressure down the bottom lane. Ooh, King of Kings, they're showing up. They still have, you know, the net worth advantage over here on the side of Thunder Predator, but these team fights are just going very nicely for the side of Apu.
They are so far. They're definitely just outplaying them a little bit. Some slight reactions, but Thunder Predator's
they want
Disable
Picaz.
is still just a little bit weak, unfortunately. So it's a little hard for them to solidify these kills in the face of Lotus Orbs and saves from OD.
All right, well, Picaz, he's loaded though at this point, right? He's
He
got
is.
himself his Ags, he's got the Sanjinyasha, BKB, Lincoln Sphere, and the Satanic. So he can stay and fight. It's a matter of the rest of his team being able to survive and be able to support him, it seems. But another smoke play coming out from Thunder Predator. On the hunt. See the chakram being tossed out here by Valky. Matthew finding the opening over onto 2 immediately. Serum and Hainsey, both the support duos just absolutely obliterated. Dark Mago, Hunting Day want Mini. Can they get there fast enough though? They both have those blink daggers to be able to go throw the flame break out. Mini, he cannot run this time. He has no one to protect him as Thunder Predator hits back, and they hit back hard.
That was actually a lasso for once. Usually it's like flaming like shoelace or something like that. That was that was some good range. That's what I'm trying to say.
I see what you mean now.
Great catch, and that we just saw the power of Monkey King, guys. That's the moment that everyone. That's why pro players value the hero, because in these moments where you get to see them, and they don't get to see you. All of a sudden, they happen to be standing next to each other. He gets this great double stun. There's follow up. Monkey's gonna have some bad times in those circumstances. Or players against Monkey are gonna have bad time there.
I mean, that definitely made it look real good.
Yeah.
As Matthew and Valky will trade a couple hits over here on the side, but Roche is up. And that means an Aegis. And it looks like they're probably going to give it over to Batrider, who's already got his slot open.
Gyro?
I'll go over onto Picaz. I was about to say.
Really? Oh no, he put
Well, I
it
think
down.
there's a lasso, right? Oh, you meant the shard?
They're gonna give it to Abaddon.
All right.
Yeah, I was talking about Shard. Sorry, were you talking about Aegis? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I saw that they had that, like, Picaz hadn't moved anything out of his inventory, so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, because, you know, you don't normally give it to, like, a bat, because once he's got the lasso down, that's about it, but, you know. Mago plays like a madman, so I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Oh, the bound is just a little bit off the mark. They still have the vision, though, so they'll be able to go throw out a little stun here with the missile, but not gonna dive super hardcore for Serum, not yet.
Yeah, the homing missile rocket barrage one maybe works okay in Ag's lab, but not so good here. Putting on Abaddon is interesting. He gets to apply Curse of Avernus stack just with a shield or a blast, so he could potentially silence somebody, which is kind of cool. And lowers cooldown for Miscoil and Aphotic Shield by 1 second. So that's another benefit. He can dispel more things from his allies as a result. So kind of a jack of all trades, good shard. Maybe not amazing, but on Tide it's not very good on Tide. It's not very good on Gyro. The
All right, the jump forward, they immediately go, they pop the Lincolns, they're just gonna try to put as much damage as possible. Ooh, but it's a nice range, it's gonna immediately, though, Liz Picaz coming back up again, they've got the Meteor Hammer, not gonna be able to quite connect over here. Oscar, it's gonna be next to fall, as the BKB gets popped by Picaz. He's just gotta run for his life. Pandemo is gonna be as lucky, yes he is. The rest of the side of Thunder Predator, we're not expecting that smoke coming out of the tree line there.
That was a shitload of damage. That killed Gyro the first time. He was not ready for that one, unfortunately for him. And yeah, and then Tide also died really quick due to the Silver Edge. He did pop Refresher before he died, so that part's kind of good. So his Ravage will be up, and his Refresher will be mostly off cooldown, or part of the way off cooldown by the time he gets up. But still 9k gold advantage for Thunder Predator. This is the fight once again. Meteor Hammer ended up getting interrupted, but yeah, with the break, it's enough.
I have to say, Hapu, you know, this is a team that, you know, if you had talked about it last season, people would be laughing that you'd think that, I mean, obviously all the rosters changed too on top of that, but they're really, you know, putting up a good showing.
They are definitely putting up a good showing. They're making a couple more mistakes than Thunder Predator is. That's no doubt about that, but the game is definitely very winnable by them at the moment with their itemization and how they're playing. Terrorblade level 19 right now, so he's actually pretty far behind level-wise of Gyrocopter, but part of that's because it's a lot safer to kill creep waves with your illusions rather than your hero, whereas Gyro is like always there, crushing creep waves. I mean, he's got 580 freaking last hits on Gyrocopter in a 35-minute game. It's bonkers how many creeps he's hit. Terrorblade, a measly 434 last hits. Shameful amount compared to what Gyro is dealing with.
I was about to say, I was going to hear the Sir Action Slack say, shame, shame.
Yeah.
No. These guys are both beasts, obviously. And they're clearly... whatever's going on over on the side of Apu. They're making it work, even though they don't have as many last hits on their Terrorblade. They have the damage, they have the heroes that are able to like create these really good engagements. But Makaz, he's gonna go right forward here. He's got his Abaddon to help him out. You can see over on the side the monkey getting into position, trying to get any sort of information. Throw out a chakram. Benny again does have that silver edge. He's gonna go just throw out another illusion. Matthew, do they notice? There's some pinging going on. Valky's cutting down some trees. Gonna find himself Dark Mago over on the start. Immediately, BKB comes out. Dark Mago going forward was looking, but no. Not gonna dive that hard, not yet. Lincoln's gets popped over onto Benny. There'll be a big call down thrown out by Picasso. He's just trying to get as much damage out over onto these racks as possible, and they haven't really been able to land a finger over onto Picasso. Again, Lincoln's getting popped, Spider legs force forward, be able to ensure that Picasso can leave, and that just seems unreal. Like, the fact they're just able to take a tower and racks without any casualties.
That was basically all Dark Mago, I think, based on when he played that. He BKB'd, his BKB looked a little goofy, but the really important thing that they did was he got a little vision, and he threw 2 flame breaks on his opponents. And remember how flame break works? It doesn't stack the damage, they don't both tick at the same time, it just elongates it, kind of like being ignited twice in a row. So for 8 seconds for each flame break, his opponents can't blink for 3 seconds. So if they're just taking that damage, you could stop it by BKBing, but then you're BKBing to wait 3 seconds to then blink initiate. So just by hitting the flame breaks like he did on all those heroes, like OD, like Lion, it basically killed their ability to initiate effectively, and it just said, okay, well now Thunder Predator, I just bought you 12 seconds to hit buildings, because finishes him out, gets out just in time. It was really nicely done by Dark Mago there.
I'm trying to remember. I heard a story at one point that Dark Mago, like, this is like way before he, you know, started getting, you know, more popular and whatnot. He was still playing on different random stacks. I think he was playing with like G Pride or something at the time. But he said something to the effect of like, I'm the next Thompson, which is, you know, it's silly, right? Because there's only one Thompson.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's really like become quite the player in the time that, you know, from when I first heard him kind of talking about this sort of thing. Not Thompson, but it is fun. It's fun to watch. That's the one thing I really love about this DPC, is to be able to, you know, see these players. You know, they stick with teams, so they get better in that respect. Because before, South America used to be just constant stacks of just reshuffling over and over for each open qualifier. And you can really see, like, how beneficial it is. Oh, Pakaz, they have vision on you, my friend. You need to be very, very careful. BKB immediately coming out, fall with the Ravage from Oscar. Very nicely done, but they need to put some more damage out as Oscar is forced away. They'll end up losing Hainsey. As they'll go in, they went and just Matthew hitting away over on the back lines. Once Valky, he's got the BKB. Look at this damage, though, coming out from Betty. It's almost enough to take down Matthew. Oh, my word.
That was a very aggressive gyro. Invis running, I gotta say.
I mean, that's Pakaz, honestly, in a nutshell. This guy is crazy.
I mean,
it's
insane. Look how many sentry wards were already there. There was like, he was like literally visible the entire time.
And did you see how they hesitated though? They're like, wait a minute, what?
He had a Lincoln's, right?
Real?
So it's scary. Like, you have to be like, oh, are we gonna go? So they eventually did jump in, but he popped BKB at about the same time. So if you hesitate, or if you go in a little bit early and you don't hex him before he pops BKB, then it's really bad, because then that's what happens to Lion. You're in melee range. The only thing that saved him was the Aeon Disc.
And look at going right back in. They've got a second Ravage online here for Oscar, so they have to be very careful. Over on the side, Bapu and Bago dragging right back in. They're going to get rid of this pesky Serum. No one died. Hainsey over the back line. There it is. There's a second Ravage. They just blow up Hainsey. And now Oscar does have to be careful. They've got the Silver Edge. They're going to force stab him out. As Valky sitting a little bit low here. Astral Imprisonment coming out from Mini, trying to buy just a bit more time. Blinks out. But this set of racks is looking very dead now with the way that they're just being allowed to wail on it. Benny trying to find this opening, trying to make his way over. Doesn't manage to make that reflection, so Picasso has to fight himself. But they still have all 5 of their heroes up. Oh, and over in the corner, very fast fingers here. Coming out from Mini, but the follow-up with the Boundless. They'll cut down the trees. They have the BKB. They'll go throw out the Wukong's command. We'll throw out the Astral Imprisonment, buying just a little bit more time. Not enough, though, for Minis. He gets bounced right back in again. The Flame Break. Dark Mago wants that kill, and by God, he's gonna get it. Thunder Predator continue to just wail away over here at the buildings. They'll take all those, they'll get mega creeps, and they'll just waltz on out all pretty like.
Yep, a lot of buybacks there, not worth messing around in the meantime, but great finish so far for Thunder Predator. Zhao continues to collect items naturally. He's got Ag's Blessing coming. MKB afterwards going to solve any evasion problems from TB between his talent and his neutral item. And then when they get Ravages again, that's when they go back. 20 seconds to refresher, so no reason to push things too quickly here over on the Thunder Predator side.
You can feel that they're starting to get a little bit desperate. If you look over at what Benny's got queued up, he has himself a Divine Rapier queued currently, and it feels like their back's a little bit against the wall. How much of this is just the fact that Pakaz now is calling the shot? Pakaz is the one who says, all right, this is it. I've got everything I need. I am farmed. Let's go in there and let's start hitting buildings. Like, is it just because they're not able to get the initiation now on the side of Apu?
That's basically about what's been happening, yeah, is that Thunder Predator is outmaneuvering their opponents and getting good initiations. Like, we haven't really gotten to see Terrorblade take a straightforward fight in like 20 minutes is what it feels like, despite him having relatively good items. Like, he's got good items, and he's got relatively close net worth, but we haven't been able to see him get to leverage that well because their opponents take better fights.
Oh, they're just jumping on immediately. Matthew finding this opening. He's got the BKB. Gonna wind up here with the Wukongs. Benny taking decent amount of damage, so is Serum. Follow up, Mini throwing out the Astral Imprisonment, but Dark Maga is here, and he jumps over on the backline. He's got the axe. He's gonna go and get both of them, Benny and Falky. They follow up with the Graping Ravage. Oh, good center though coming out from Benny. He's gonna try to man fight them here, but they have a second Ravage. They're gonna be able to lock him into place. That is a double kill for Pakaz, and they're not done yet. They want more. The GG does indeed get called, but they want to pad those stats. They do a team wipe, and just like that, Thunder Predator, being so incredibly patient, waiting for those item timings, will be able to clutch themselves this victory.
They just take another win with their excellent execution. But either way, Apu King of Kings, they took Thunder Predator to a 42-minute game. No other team in South America has done this yet so far in this DPC tour. So very impressive showing from them. Thunder Predator was the better team. No doubts about that, but they had great moments where they outplayed their opponents, where they had great itemization, where they got some advantages, but it wasn't enough to take the win against Thunder Predator.
No, I mean, I think if you're an Apu King of Kings fan, you're still very happy with this. You'd be happier, obviously, if they had gotten the victory. But at the end of the day, you know, you went toe-to-toe with one of the big boys, and you still have potentially 2 more games coming up. So perhaps, you know, something clicked during that time. Perhaps, you know, you're going to come up with a different strategy. But obviously, if you're coming for Thunder Predator, you need to be prepared because these guys are so good, and they're proving it right now. But we're going to toss it over to our caster panel, or our analyst panel, my bad, and see what they have to say about it.
Did you hear that, Palace? They called you casters. Like, how dare they? Casters. Not a true analyst like you guys really represent. I think Team Screw Terrorblade was right this time. I don't think that he had the greatest impact. Apu King's kind of being a little bit outclassed. Lyrical, yesterday you talked to me about the multiple games you saw. Did you see that today again? In this game?
Kind of. It was weird. Like, I was messaging Trent. Sorry, Alva, I didn't want to leave you out during the game, but we were talking a little bit about things. I feel bad. Look at Trent. He's making fun of me now.
We were talking, you know.
We'll get you in. We'll get a group call next one. But one of the things that felt really interesting was that it was like Apu King of Kings were winning every single fight, and then they would like start losing hero after hero, sort of like randomly, it felt like. And it sort of got this feeling in my head of like, basically Thunder Predator just sort of like thriving in this chaos that they created for them. Or Apu King of Kings would win like a really big engagement, and then they would like, go all and separate to farm and like, you know, push out the waves. And Moxxi was mentioning this, like going for an immediate smoke afterwards. And then they would just catch them off guard. It was really nice.
Did you agree with that sentiment, Trent?
Yeah, I would say that what I found was that their positioning to start the fights was particularly good. I think the one fight that really stood out to me was when Apu Kings were trying to like find their footing back in the game. I think they were down like 11k or so, and it's in that mid lane where Thunder Predator know the situation that's occurring. They're trying to hold that classic like guard the Citadel. They're the dire team, but they're playing in the Radiant Triangle. So what you do is you hold that spot, because you know that they want to initiate on you, and then you start poking that mid tower, right? So that's eventually what happens. They start hitting the tower a little bit, then the fight starts. The Ravage was not great, right? Because the OD gets the save on the Undying, then the Undying turns, gets the big sword, and I feel like that was what kept happening in these fights, where I'm seeing like the little plays look so good from Apu Kings, but just because they're sort of copying these classic high level strats of like just this is where you should go when the game state is like this. That's what I'm seeing Thunder Predator do. So even if they miss out on like little plays during the team fights, they just you're going to give yourself a pretty big advantage by doing that.
And to like build on that a little bit more, in those moments where again we're talking about Thunder Predator holding Radiant Triangle and then Apu King of Kings holding Dire Triangle, what Thunder Predator was doing was they were catching that mid wave and then holding it so that way it wouldn't push in. Apu King of Kings weren't doing that. They weren't catching the mid wave with either the Terrorblade illusions or the Undying running in and grabbing it. So it was just swinging all the way through. And that's why that fight happened on that high ground. It happened because they weren't catching the mid wave and then they had to come and defend their tier 2 tower.
So would it be fair to say that overall you saw Thunder Predator playing a better macro game per se this game?
Yeah.
Even if the team fights were better
100%.
for King.
Yeah, this is the fight I was talking about specifically where like because their positioning of coming down from that high ground, even if the start of the fight is kind of bad, like where this OD gets out, the general sense of just like playing from there, it makes it so much better.
And this fight doesn't even happen if Apu King of Kings catch that mid wave before it gets to them. And then these little things right here, it just hurts. Like, this is why Monkey King's so good, and Purge mentioned that. And it's like these vision heroes are really important. But nonetheless, like you can see why this team has been growing in stock and why you have to try and outmacro them somewhere else, because their team fighting is excellent. They're really, really good.
Yeah. I want to comment. We're talking about macro. Something that I also noticed about Thunder Predator that I want to mention is in the beginning, in the engagements that they were quote unquote losing, they weren't actually losing. I was actually watching in Dota TV a little bit delayed because I was checking, and the engagements they weren't losing in net worth simply because the engagements were actually not bad for them. Like they would have like lower net worth heroes. They were ready to fight anyway. They would sacrifice Batrider and Tide and always leave Gyrocopter to live. And it seems like King of Kings wasn't really aware. They're like, oh, more kills equals good, but more kills not always what you want, especially with a TB that's super farmed. Like he was worth much more gold than every time that Mago would commit suicide among 3 heroes when he was really under farmed at the beginning. So I thought that there was a lot of small understanding of the game from Thunder Predator that bullied a more inexperienced team here in King of Kings.
I would agree with that, and like the idea of just sort of making sure that you're putting forward, you're risking things that you don't mind losing is another way to think about it maybe as well. And they knew that the win condition, which is another great word, that was the gyrocopter. Get big boy strong, and eventually he just stands on a high ground and says, "Come deal with me, otherwise you're getting raxed," and they got raxed.
Were you guys ever afraid of the Gyro Trent? Gyro Terrorblade. The Gyro
I don't think I can take
Terrorblade
Gyro.
matchup.
I'll be real. He's got like this big helicopter thing. I don't know. There's some hockey sticks in my garage. I'm pretty sure he's got me.
I can't even get to your garage right now.
That's true. That is true.
But yeah, were you afraid of the core-to-core matchup at all? I was expecting a lot more impact from the TB versus Gyro. Like I was a bit afraid that like you see Gyro soaring in net worth, but TB should be able to win that matchup if it's just them, 1 versus 1, right? Or am I wrong in the assessment?
I mean, if we throw them in like the little demo mode or something, maybe. Right. But I feel like specifically those 2 heroes, if anything, I kind of like the TB for sure in terms of just like he has like some more tools to help control. But in the end, when it has like we have a lot of range carries right now, and I feel like the range carries in particular is when you see like the surrounding team to be so much more important than the actual 1v1, because you're able to position a lot more as the range carries, right? So it's less likely that you get into some like weird trap scenario of like, oh, the Ursa's got the lifesteal and he's got the bash going. You know what I mean? He just dies, of course. Right. So team is what counts in those 1v1s.
I would also
makes
say,
no sense.
Like the sort of build up to all of it, it was a really good recognition by Thunder Predator of how to like disable that Terrorblade from getting out of control, because the OD didn't get out of control. And part of the reason the OD didn't get out of control is because Matthew is making such good moves on his Monkey King, breaking the Meteor Hammer combos with Boundless Strike, right? So like if OD starts like completely going off, that gives way more room for that Terrorblade to farm up all around the map and things like that. And I felt like there were multiple moments in that early game in particular where Apu King of Kings were poised to just like start going off with OD, and then Matthew just said no. I think you got to take that away from him in game number 2.
Right. Well, I like that. Let's see if they do ban the Monkey King in number 2, because Matthew Monkey King, that's not something new. It's been a staple for a while. So even Trent was excited when he saw that. The alliteration stands true for this combination. We're going to take a small break though before game number 2, as we will get back with the second chance for Apu King of Kings to take a game off Thunder Predator. Will they be able to do it? Who knows? We'll see shortly after a quick break.